how to get a contingent offer accepted? That's what we're talking about today. Welcome back to my channel. If we haven't met yet, I'm Esphir Popilevsky with Supreme Home Sales, and don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell. And the question I'm answering today is how to get a contingent offer accepted. If our real estate market had a sound, it would probably sound something like this.
6.5 and 6.5, she says yes. At 6.5 now with the lady, and now 700.
Anyway, first it's important to realize that every offer has 5 parts to it. Part number 1 is price. Number 2 is down payment. Number 3 is earnest money deposit. Number 4 is closing time. And number 5 is miscellaneous, which has a lot of little things in it. So in this video, I'm going to go through each one and get a little bit into details into each part of the offer. Let's talk about price. Price, if you're willing to pay more than any other buyer that's bidding for this house, then it's pretty easy as long as you have the money in the bank, right? So there's not much to talk about it, but my goal is to give you some insights about how to get your contingent offer accepted and not necessarily be the highest bidder. Okay, sounds good? Number 2 is earnest money deposit, and a lot of people also call it contract money deposit. So let's see how we can take that item and try to leverage it and make it position you in a better position. So let's just, for example purposes, let's say that your total down payment would be $200,000 after all said and done, right? So you're probably going to say that when you write up your offer that you're going to put maybe $20,000 as an earnest money deposit or when you sign the contract. What if you decide that you're going to use your entire down payment to put as an earnest money deposit and show the seller how seriously you are willing to purchase their house? Which kind of leads us to number 3, which is the down payment. Now, assuming you have all that down payment available, I mean, your money is your money. That's all you have, that's all you have. But if you do have more, make sure that you are willing to include that much more in your down payment. Think about it. What does the seller really want? The seller wants a buyer with a solid offer that presents the least amount of risks, the best terms possible to the seller, and that they can get to the closing table and move on with their life. Number 4 is a closed date. So a lot of buyers think that if they're going to make an offer with a quick closing date, that's going to put them in an advantage. Maybe not so much. Here's what I want you to think about. A seller that is selling their house is most likely in the same situation you are. Their sale is contingent upon a purchase of another house, and maybe they haven't found the house that they want yet, or been losing bids just like you are, right? So offering the seller some incentive in the form of a further down the line closing date, or even something like a lease back after the closing, may very well put you in an advantage over a buyer who's looking to close quickly, possibly doesn't have nothing to sell, and maybe even offering more money. Number 5 is miscellaneous, and miscellaneous has a lot of different items in there, but let's start with the ones that everybody's doing right now, and that is removing appraisal contingencies, removing inspection contingencies. Personally, this is not something that I would recommend my buyers do. This is an option you can do. I wouldn't go for it on the onset. So what would I do? It is very important to first know who the seller is and what's important to them. How can we do that? I do it very simply. I reach out to the listing agent and tell the agent, first of all, how you love the house and how much you are committed to making a purchase, except you have a contingency. So I want to know what this listing agent can tell me about the seller, what's important to them. So in other words, the question is very simple. My buyer really loves your house. They do have a contingency. What is important to your seller? What can we do to have the seller get what they want and win the bid? Simple. Right? Get that done. You are not going to believe how many realtors do not even make a phone call and do not even let the listing agent know that they are going to send in an offer. They just write up the offer, send all the documents in the email, don't follow up, poof, expect that your offer is going to be accepted. Let me tell you a true story because that's the only way I can give you an example. So a couple of months ago, I had a buyer who were purchasing a home and we were dealing with 12 other offers. Shocker, no. But here's the thing. I put the offer together with all the supporting documents. Now, if you need to know what documents to support when you have a contingency, you can watch the video right here somewhere on top next. But let's get back to it. So what I've done is I picked up the phone, I spoke to the listing agent, and I said to the listing agent, look, I would like to present my offer to the seller directly. We got on the phone, I spoke to the seller, I talked to the seller, I told her who was the buyer, what were their intentions, how committed they are to purchasing this house. The seller fell in love with the story, she fell in love with the intentions, why the buyer was purchasing her house specifically, and we got the offer accepted even though our offer was not the highest offer. Now the next day, the listing agent told me that I was the only realtor who actually asked to speak to the seller. Now I'm telling you honestly, I know for a fact, had I submitted that offer only, I would have not won this bid for my buyers. So I'm telling you, if you have an offer to present, and especially if you have a contingent offer, don't necessarily assume right away that price is the only thing that matters. You must understand all of these things, all the 5 items that are part of the offer, and every seller, just like every buyer, and every deal is a unique situation to the circumstances involved around the parties that are involved. If you like this video, click like, make a comment, ask a question. Always like to help you guys. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.